Picking up from where we left off, there is definitely more than meets the eye to Operation Paperclip and what the Nazis actually brought to the U.S. Man's thirst for greed, fame, fortune, and most of all power knows no bounds. The Nazis made that clear during World War II. Knowing what we know now, do we dare ask the questions? Are there secret spaces in America where the unthinkable happens? And yes, this would include numerous things, a broad spectrum, if you will, of places where crimes against humanity have been or are being performed. Yet we haven't even begun to scratch the surface on what is really happening in these secret spaces. For most of us, it's just speculation mixed with a few actual facts, which makes it very difficult to investigate. And of course, this is by design. We can't say that they didn't think this through. It is with meticulous detail that all of these things are connected, yet obscured to the casual observer. There is always a parallel between our present and our past that determines our future. Sometimes taking a look back helps to define what we are seeing today. The role America played after World War II in allowing Nazi war criminals to seek shelter in this country is hard to comprehend, and all in the name of science, and all in establishing the U.S. as the new technology giant of the world. As usual, out of greed and arrogance of a few in positions of power brings misery to the rest of us. Make no mistake, this has been going on since the beginning of creation. I'm just outlining this particular time frame after World War II because it's where we see science emerging as the new religion, if you will, of the ancient mythical cults of the mystery schools of Babylon. And what do we know about science? The most obvious to me is that science is the new form of religion for Satanists. It's the seed of doubt placed by Satan against the Word of God and what we know to be true. It's based on theories and hypotheses. So what exactly does that mean? Let's take a look at each word. According to Google Dictionary, theory means, quote, a system of ideas intended to explain something, especially one based on general principles independent of the thing to be explained, close quote, or, and I quote, an idea used to account for a situation or justify a course of action, close quote. The latter definition here is my focus because they love to use the word justify, which goes along with the Freemason philosophy that the ends justify the means, and they believe their actions are always justified, at least to themselves. According to dictionary.com, hypothesis means a proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation or a mere assumption or guess, close quote. So, our educational curriculums and institutes have adopted the philosophy of science, pushed by those who follow Satanism, which is merely a guess as to why everything is as it is, instead of turning to the Word of God for its answers. For a more in-depth study, everyone needs to research for themselves. There is simply so much information to sort through. The list of deep underground military bases and their purposes of function are numerous and lengthy. My goal is to briefly go over some of the things I have found in relation to occultic places and secret spaces within the U.S. There are many anons putting out videos on many topics, and sometimes it's hard to not be redundant. The good part is that so many of us have our own individual way of looking at things, or perhaps describing things, that gives or brings another perspective. So where to begin with the next video? How about perhaps the least or most obvious, our nation's capital?